It's just Bruce, he don't bite. Hello.
Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. It's a Sunday night. Pretty much been stuck at home for the past few days. I didn't feel good last week. I worked Tuesday and Wednesday. I felt like garbage. And I took a COVID test on Thursday. Found out I came out positive. And I'm not surprised. I'm doing okay, though. Don't worry. But yeah, I took the test on Thursday, and I felt like crap on Thursday. And they told me at work I got to take 5 days off for one of my jobs. So on Sunday night, I'm pretty much going stir crazy. I'm feeling okay, but if I go up and down the stairs, I get winded and I start having coughing fits. And that's pretty much the worst of it this time. Coughing fits and I can't taste anything. I was hoping today that I would pass a COVID test, but I didn't. It's Sunday, like I said. I took another one today and it still failed the damn thing. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back to work. But in the meantime, I'm bored out of my mind. All I've been doing is watching movies. So hence this video. We're going to talk about two movies. We're going to talk about the Munsters, Rob Zombie's version, and we're going to talk about Hocus Pocus 2. I watched both of them, and I have a couple of thoughts about it. I'm not going to be one of those people that sit there and nitpicks everything right down to the director and the key grip, but I will give you my opinion. We're going to start with the Munsters. Saw the Munsters Thursday when it came out. I was really looking forward to seeing it. I grew up with the Munsters. You know, the Munsters aired back in, I believe it was 1963. The original Herman Munster was, of course, Fred Gwynne. And it's been remade a lot. They've tried to reboot it on TV shows, cartoons, and nobody could capture Herman Munster like Fred Gwynne could. That was his character. And I'll always believe that. I will, unless he gets cloned or something. So I watched the movie, and I was expecting it to be cheesy because they advertised it was going to be cheesy. The first trailer I saw was them imitating the original show where they used the actors. Of course, it was, I have notes here because I forget things. Sherry Moon Zombie, of course, played Lily, and the one that played Jeff Daniel Phillips played Herman. He also played in the movie Zombo and Shecky Von Rathbone, which I didn't realize that till I looked it up, and I thought that was pretty neat. Zombo, if I remember correctly, was also made a guest appearance in House of a Thousand Corpses, one of those movies. But not surprised because it's Rob Zombie. And, of course, Daniel Roebuck played, they called him the Count. They didn't call him Grandpa Munster. And that's whenever I saw, speaking of not calling him Grandpa Munster, the first thing I saw was the first person that reviewed it, which was like at 4 o'clock in the morning Thursday. So that means this person waited until as soon as it got released just to talk shit about it on the internet. And that kind of pissed me off. Because I'm like, you couldn't just wait a little bit to give your spoilers and everything. Oh, by the way, there will be spoilers in my talking. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, go watch the movie and come back. So this guy's just going on a rant about how bad it was and everything. And I'm like, all right. And I clicked on the guy's profile, and the guy's like 20-some years old. I'm like, okay, I'll just let that go. Because I grew up in the 70s, and I grew up on the reruns of it, too. I didn't see it as it came on air. But, I was a little kid. And it was funny. It was funny. It was cheesy. The black and white thing helped. It was funny. It was wholesome. That was my view of it when I was a little kid. I grew up. I'll still watch it today because it's just silly funny. And so that's what I was kind of expecting whenever I went to start the movie. So I started the movie, and of course they start back in Transylvania, where Lily's single, and she's, I guess, online dating, whatever the equivalent is. Because they kind of sort of stuck to the 1963 theme, but there was some things in it that weren't back in 1963. Excuse me. So I was a little taken aback by that. I'm like, okay, well, this is a prequel, so it's going to be how her and Herman met. Sherry Moon Zombie, of course, is the first character I saw that, I would have noticed. She's no Yvonne DiCarlo, but you could tell she was trying to emulate her a lot of the time. It didn't really work the whole time. You can tell she's not that kind of an actress. And I had noticed that first off. But, I'm still watching it. And, then, of course, the Herman comes to life and everything. With Dr. Wolfgang is the one in that movie that brought him to life. But according to Herman Munster, whenever he sang My Toe Bone Connected to My Ankle Bone or whatever that was, it was Dr. Frankenstein that actually put him together. So I don't know if it was a copyright thing or maybe one of Rob Zombie just making a stretch. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not one of these people that know all the facts, and I'm not claiming to, but this is just in my head. But anyway, Richard Brake. He played Dr. Wolfgang, and I love that guy. I've seen him in all Rob Zombie's movies, and I've even noticed him here and there in other movies, just making little appearances. And I just think he's creepy. He's like great for horror methodology, and then to see him playing this like uptight doctor type thing, it was, and he was trying to be cheesy too. I kind of laughed at it. It made me in a good way. I like that part. So anyway, they bring Herman to life, and of course, before we meet Herman, we meet. I keep wanting to call him Grandpa Munster, because Al Lewis will always be Grandpa Munster in my mind too. Daniel Roebuck played the Count. They never called him Grandpa. In fact, they made him Lily's father, which, it's not canon. We better get her on the internet and bitch about it. It's not canon. I don't care. The guy, aside from that mustache, what's up with that mustache? Grandpa Munster never had a mustache. I don't know why the guy wore a mustache. If he hadn't had that mustache on his costume, the look would have been almost perfect. But you could see him emulating Al Lewis as Grandpa Munster being the Count. And I think 90% of the time he did a great job. Especially he was casting a spell. And he had the laugh down, the motions down. And it really brought me back to the Munsters whenever I was a kid when he was doing that scene. So yeah, I did like Grandpa Munster. At first he hated Herman Munster because he's taking his daughter away. I get it. As a father, I get that. But we never got to see Grandpa Munster be like that. Or the Count. Whatever we're supposed to call him. So anyway, Herman Munster gets born, and all of a sudden the assistant gives him his name and puts him on show business, and he's out touring the nation doing singing. Excuse me. He's out touring and doing the singing and everything and becoming famous, so to speak. Lily falls in love with him. They really kind of rushed through it, and then of course they had the whole menage whenever Lily and Herman were dating and falling in love. But the guy that played Herman Munster, once again, Jeff Daniel Phillips, he had a lot of the motions and the physical part of it and the laugh, that loud laugh that Herman, I'm not even going to try to do it because I'll blow out a lung. Like I said, I have COVID right now. And I'm just thinking about it. I wish I could because I can't do that in real life. But he had the laugh down. I think he kind of overused it throughout the movie. But he had the laugh down. He had the physical movements down. And he'd bend over whenever he'd laugh and give that big hearty belly laugh. It looked like he's taking a crap on the floor or something like that. But that's what Fred Gwynne did when he was Herman Munster. So I was kind of psyched about that. What I could have done without is all the weird camera twisty angled things in the graphics behind that Rob Zombie added. It reminded me of the old Batman show with Adam West, with the pow zap. It didn't need to be there. This is all just my opinion. None of this is fact. This is just what I viewed when I saw the movie. I just didn't think it needed to be there. I think they should have kept it they should have kept it true to, I'm not saying they should have. I wish they would have kept it true to the 60s theme TV show because it was a prequel. So even date it back a little, make it a little more cheesier. I was totally cool with the plot. It was a long movie though. It could have been 2 movies in one. Seemed like they spent a lot of time in Transylvania just to lose their castle, and they didn't even put up a fight. They're like, oh, well, let's move to Hollywood. And they packed up, went to Hollywood. Of course, Eddie Munster wasn't in it. Marilyn Munster wasn't in it because they didn't exist yet. Well, Marilyn might have existed, but she wasn't there. She just wasn't part of the story. And it makes sense because they had just gotten together, just got married, and they just moved out to Hollywood to start their life. So I get that. But once they got into 1313 Mockingbird Lane, it was closer to what the actual sitcom was, I thought. They didn't have the twisty graphics and everything like that. They were more close to the TV show that I remember. So overall, I did like the movie, but there's things about it that I don't know if they fit or not. But I liked it, but it could have been better. It would have been a blast if they'd have done the whole thing in black and white, like when Mel Brooks did Young Frankenstein, something like that. I think just to keep in touch with the roots of the show, I think that would have been awesome. But they didn't go that route. But like I said, a lot of people are out there screaming and bitching about it. Oh, it's not canon. This isn't right. This isn't right. This isn't right. It doesn't matter if it's right. It's Rob Zombie. Look what he did when he did Halloween. He changed a little bit of it around. He made it his own movie. And that's what he did for this sitcom into a movie. So, and like I said, I got to give the guy credit for that played Herman Munster. No one has been able to emulate Fred Gwynn's performance of Herman Munster since Fred Gwynn did that performance. Same with Al Lewis. No one has ever really been able to emulate that. They've tried. There was the Munsters Now, I think. The Munsters Today. It was a TV show in the 90s where they started in the 60s and they went into the sleeping chamber, then they woke up and it was the 90s. It was terrible. I watched a couple episodes of it. It was terrible. And a couple movies and stuff came out. The movies where the Munsters were actually in it, they were okay. Had to get used to being colorized, but they did kind of keep to the theme of the TV show, which is the whole point. And there was a cartoon, and I think there was one more Munster thing they did. I didn't watch it, but no one can top Fred Gwynn's performance. No one can top Yvonne DiCarlo's performance. No one can top Al Lewis's performance. And that's my final thought on that movie. I'm going to go take a break and let my dogs out, and we're going to talk about Hocus Pocus 2. Okay, I let my puppies out, and I'm back for part 2. We're going to talk about Hocus Pocus 2. Someday I will learn how to talk without stuttering. Been this way my whole life. It is what it is. Don't make fun of me. One last thing about the Munsters, though, and I meant to mention this earlier. Butch Patrick. A lot of people were wondering, are we going to see a cameo from Marilyn Munster still alive? Well, whichever one you want. Butch Patrick's still alive, who played Eddie Munster back in the 60s. And I was wondering when the movie was on if I was going to get to see Butch Patrick. Actually, I was looking for him because I know the lady that played Marilyn Munster, she did an interview not too long ago. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. But she's way up in years, so it didn't surprise me that she wasn't in there. But Butch Patrick was in that movie. And if you read the credits, you already know this. Okay, like I said, there's spoilers. If you don't know, mute me right now until I tell you to do this. When I do this, then you can turn the sound back on because I'm going to tell you who he was in the movie. If you haven't seen it, you want to go back and watch the movie again and figure it out, that's your cue. So I'm going to say who he was in the movie, and then after I say it, I'll go like this, and you can click on, just figure it out. Butch Patrick played the robot metal guy. That is actually the name of the credits was Tin Man Can. He was the voice of the Tin Man that married Herman and Lily. That was Butch Patrick. And I never would have known that if I hadn't read the credits, but I did, so there. All right, now on to Hocus Pocus 2. Now, Hocus Pocus 2. Hocus Pocus is a tradition with me and my wife and my kids. We've always watched Hocus Pocus ever since it came out. I think, what was it, 1993? 1993? I've always watched it every year around Halloween. It's a great movie. I love Bette Midler. I think she's a great actress and a hell of a singer. Her cohorts is Sarah, say it with me, Sarah Jessica Parker. Sarah Jessica Parker. I never liked Sarah Jessica Parker. In fact, when she was in the movie in 1993 and all the years after that we watched, I never knew it was her that played the hot blonde. And I think that's the only role she's ever done in her life that she looked good. Horseface. That's just my opinion. The other girl was, yes, I'm cheating. I have a hard time pronouncing this. Kathy Najimy. Kathy Najimy. I know you're going to correct me, but she played Mary Sanderson. Back in 1993, she's a lot heavier, and obviously she's improved her career, lost a lot of weight, and go back to do the sequel. She has lost all the weight, which is good for her. That's awesome. I'm someone that used to be a lot bigger than I am right now, and I lost weight too. I know how that feels, and I think it's amazing. In fact, I even read somewhere where they were trying to pay her to get her to gain weight for the role, so she could reprise her role, and she wouldn't do it. So good for you. Good for you, Kathy. Stick to your guns, because I think she did an okay job. Now, Bette Midler is 74, I think. 74? She's the oldest of the three. Kathy is 65. I could be off on these numbers. And Sarah Jessica Parker is 57, which I know that because she's 3 years older than me. And for them to come back and reprise their roles on Hocus Pocus 2 and be as good as they were at their age now compared to what they did back in '93. I give them total kudos. Bette Midler was on point with her acting, being Winnie again. She was on point. And you know okay, let's go through all three of them. Kathy Najimy, she wasn't really on point. She didn't really emulate the character the way she used to. And I'm not talking because she lost the weight. I'm talking about the way she spoke. Even the way, well, if she did this with her lip, I can't do it. But she, in the first movie, as you're looking at her mouth would droop to the left. As you're looking at her, your left, it would drift to the left. Now, in this entire movie, it drifted to the right. I don't know if there's a reason for that, but it just seems like something the director wouldn't overlook, or even the actress wouldn't overlook, in case maybe there's something that's preventing her from doing so. Just my thoughts on that. And the dialect and the way she was talking, she didn't really capture the voice. Now, her voice couldn't have changed that much. Bette Midler's didn't. Sarah Jessica Parker, she had all kind of energy. She really was believable that it was the same character. I mean, the same actress, it should be the same character. But I give her credit. She had all the energy and everything that Sarah Sanderson had. And it was really nice to see her. And all three of them obviously aged, and they didn't hide that in the movie. And I appreciate that because of the fantasy of the actual movie plot. It's okay that they aged because they've been locked up in wherever they were, another dimension, wherever they went to. And they were losing their powers. They had to recharge. And they all know if they don't recharge, they get old. So it kind of fit right in with the movie, and it wasn't a problem. So I can get past all that. I enjoyed the movie. I think it's funny that they looked in the window and saw their own movie playing on a television. That was strange. That was the scene with Penny Marshall and her brother Gary Marshall, where he was Satan and his sister was his wife. That's really weird now that I said it out loud. And then they saw little kids wearing the same costumes. But you know what? Hey, why not? It's just to be silly. And it's Disney. Disney, shame on you. So, and then when they're walking around during the Halloween, you know, seeing all the creepy, they recycled a lot of the old jokes, but they also made them kind of modern. Like when Sarah Jessica Parker's character did amok, she was on the broom swinging back and forth. That's one of the funniest parts of the movie. I mean, my wife and I say that to each other all the time, and it's funny. So yes, we did enjoy the movie. The ending, I feel like, and here comes spoilers again, remember, I feel like when Winnie became all powerful and she lost her sisters, I feel like they could have drawn that out a little longer to actually show her remorse. But it's a Disney movie, so they ended it quick. You know, it's like, oh, I feel sorry, my sisters are gone, and then they poof, okay, you're back together. It lasted like 5 minutes. They should have just shown that character a little, maybe going on a rampage or something and realizing that she missed her sisters. Just my opinion. But anyway, Hocus Pocus 2, my wife and I both enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than the Munsters, I'll admit it. Like I said, I did like the Munsters, but the Munsters let me down. Hocus Pocus got my expectations out of it, and I appreciated it. So I'm going to end this now. I don't know how long I've been rambling. I know I have a tendency to ramble, do it all the time. Check out my other videos. In case you notice, I've been doing mostly cooking videos. Damn it. I've been doing mostly cooking videos. Sometimes I get on here and talk about other things, but it's mostly going to be a cooking channel. Unless, I mean, my resin things and the Star Wars stuff. If I do something, I'll videotape it. You know, we'll make a movie, but there's really nothing going on with that. I'm just concentrating on work. I'm home now. I don't know when I'm going to get to go back, and that's bugging me. That's bugging me. I hate. I'm losing out on so much money, but I'm still okay. But I really want to go back to work. I want to start feeling better, and hopefully next week I'll feel better. But in the meantime, hey, check out the rest of my videos. You want to check out my eBay page? It's still up. I'm still selling things on the eBay page. It's a Jenner Custom Toys. If you're going to search eBay, all one word, Jenner Custom Toys. If I think about it, I'll put it down here. That's about it. I'm doing okay. I hope you guys are doing okay too. Leave a comment, say hello, whatever you want to do, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for spending some time with me tonight. Hopefully I'll feel better, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
It's just Bruce. He don't bite. Hello.